Hi, welcome to our channel.
Assalamu alaikum, Ayubowan, Vanakkam. I'm behind the camera today and as promised, we will be discussing short eats in detail today. But in our previous video, we promised a special guest, and that special guest is
E.G.B, Elephant House brand ginger beer. I'm from Canada, and we have Canada Dry ginger ale, which when I used to live here before Fahim and I got married, I thought was the greatest thing. I loved it. Then I moved to ginger beer, then I moved to Sri Lanka, and Fahim introduced me to E.G.B. And I've had Canada Dry ginger ale since then. It's still good, but it's no longer the bomb. E.G.B is where it's at. So if you go to Sri Lanka, or if you're in a place where you can order E.G.B, get it. Give it a try. So shall I open?
Yep.
Okay, no, I'm not going to be opening.
Yeah, no, we'll open it later.
We'll open later.
Basically, like there's other favorites of ours in terms of drinks from Sri Lanka, but we'll do a video about that at some other point. But let's move on to the special, well, not the special guest, the main guest today.
So we have Short Eats. Here, let me turn this around a little bit. Okay, now these are from a website that Fahim found not that long ago, where we can order frozen foods that are actually manufactured in Sri Lanka, shipped to Canada, and sold on this website. And this is some of them. This is from the Fab Bakery in Sri Lanka, and they come frozen in a box.
Yes, we didn't think we would find any Sri Lankan food in Winnipeg, and we are about to leave Winnipeg, but then we found this place and we just had to order some from them, as you probably saw in the other video where we showed off the packaging. But let's look at each one of these. You want to do the honors with the fish bun?
Well, I'm gonna just give an orientation to what's what.
Okay.
Now, one thing that I really like about the Fab Bakery is the fact that they do different shapes for each thing. So you can tell what something is by its shape. So this is the fish bun. Okay, now these samosas are prawn samosas. These are fish cutlets. And this is
The prawn patty.
prawn patty.
Yeah, and just as an aside, this is not just a Fab thing. Lots of short eats in Sri Lanka will have specific shapes. Like they'll have vegetable rotis which have a specific shape as opposed to a beef roti or a fish roti, so that you can generally tell, if you know what the shapes are, whether it is a vegetarian item or a fish item or a meat item.
And that's great. It just makes it so much easier to figure out, what's what when you have like multiple things on a plate. Okay, so this is the fish bun, and I'm just gonna.
Yep. So it's just a bun filled with fish, or in this case, I think it's vegetables and spices, and sometimes there'll also be a little bit of meat.
There's leeks, there's carrots, and the red specks obviously are the red chilies.
Okay. So let's move on.
So I'll just kind of put that together. Okay, the fish cutlet. Okay, here we go. That looks a lot like the insides of the fish cutlets that your mom makes.
Yes.
And I gotta say, your mom's fish cutlets are the best. Okay, let's open up the, what was this called?
The prawn patty.
Prawn patty.
Yeah. So again, just dough covering a filling. That's it. Like nothing special, but the taste is always the main thing.
Definitely tastes like prawn. Lots of pepper.
Okay.
Okay.
And again, that's the prawn samosa. So that's basically it. Like, this could be like, this is going to be our lunch meal. So
Now, about short eats. When we lived in Sri Lanka, whenever we do a road trip, whether it was Colombo to Kernagala or Colombo to Kandy or whatever it was, down to Gaul, wherever we went, we would inevitably always stop off at a hotel somewhere or other. And by hotel, I mean roadside cafe,
restaurant.
not place with beds. And we'd get short eats. Frequently, like whenever we'd drive from Colombo to Kernagala in particular, because his mom and dad lived in Kernagala, we lived in Colombo, and it's about a 2-hour drive, we would leave at 5 in the morning before we had breakfast, and we would get short eats somewhere halfway around the way to Kernagala, and that was our breakfast.
Yeah, and generally, like, a couple of buns, or maybe sometimes, because you also have things like a whole variety of buns in Sri Lanka, like they call it the Vienna roll. Like, well, actually, they don't call it Vienna roll, they call it Vienna roll, which comes from Vienna roll, which is basically a sugar bun with sugar on the outside.
And it's really good.
Yeah, and then there's jam buns, and cream buns. So there's a whole range of buns that you can get. Tea buns,
egg buns,
raisin buns, and that's just on the sweet side. On the savory side.
Okay, no, egg buns were on the savory side.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the egg buns are boiled eggs that are cut in half and put inside a bun that's shaped basically like a hot dog bun, along with lettuce, tomato, onion, and it's really good for breakfast.
So that's it for short eats. Definitely try it out if you go to Sri Lanka, and you'll be glad that you did. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.